So you may start.
Yeah. Good morning, friends. I'm Vinod Sharma from HDFC Securities, and I've been in this capital markets for the last 30 years plus. I've been a merchant banker first, and then I came into the secondary market. I have managed more than 150 public issues as a lead manager. I also wrote some 250 underwritings. And before coming to HDFC Securities in 2009, I was the whole-time director at Anagram Securities. So I've been in this capital market for the last 30 years, and this is a very interesting feature that we are going to talk today. Interestingly, the kind of markets that we have seen since earlier this year, even after the COVID broke out, these have been very, very interesting times. And to us at SDFC, it was a great pleasure in terms of understanding and using our past experience in order to negotiate this for our investors. So I'll speak to you when I reach those levels. But currently, we are going to speak on the fact that I'm asking you to get acclimatized for the volatility in the markets as well as the altitude, the high levels. Okay, so here on we'll move to the first slide. Sham, can we move? Varun? Yes. We have moved from a nervous COVID wreck to a fearful bystander in the beginning, and then a reluctant investor, and now also we are eager but still fumbling and not fully confident of the markets. Well, this is the theory of the markets. I mean, you can never be sure of the future. No matter how long you wait for the capital markets, there will be uncertainty. Okay. Now, what are the uncertainties today? Many. We'll talk about them later. But the fact is, no matter how long you wait, you will always end up investing in an uncertain market, because one uncertainty will be replaced by something else. So you always end up investing in an uncertain market, and that's the way equity market is. Okay. Next slide, Shyam. Friends, let me tell you that I'll wrap this up in 25 minutes, and the last 5 minutes I'll have for your question and answer session, so that you have 1 full hour to go to the markets and do what you want. Okay. Okay. Yeah. We were, first thing, that we were scared of the media stories, and the comparison between the year 2008 and 2020 was not done. People were essentially only talking about, and especially the TV anchors, on whom we begin, on whom we give a lot of confidence and we draw inspiration from, and they were telling us a story which wasn't absolute truth, but it was factually correct, but it need not happen in this year also. Okay, so what did they tell us? They told us that the markets have fallen this much, and therefore the markets which is so the level that we speak about is the level of 7,511 in the Nifty, which was reached on 24th of March 2020, this year. And so what is the story that the one of the leading television programs channels did this program? They said, now if you go to 2008, and you'll find out that the markets bounced back from the earlier lows what they made. They rose, gave you a sense of that the worst is over, and then they declined, and the markets went on declining. So beware if you buy this bounce back. So that is the let's say that is the background with which we all were told and which we were living day in and day out. The second thing was that the lockdown worries. In the beginning, even before the markets made a low, we had this lockdown, and this lockdown was essentially because in order to ensure that we do not end up losing more lives. So therefore, India decided, and rightfully so, to have a very strict kind of a lockdown. Now, because of this strict like lockdown, we did not lose as many people as we could have. So we were the earlier ones to start scanning the aeroplanes, the international flights, and we could contain. So, but for some of the early incidents, which we now know in hindsight, like a particular community or other people, which could have been resulted into, let's say, prevention of this fallout all over India, that wasn't possible. But the fact is, even now, we are much better off than the rest of the world as far as the percentage of lives are concerned. We have one of the largest cases, but the fact is, we also have the second largest population in the world. So considering that, we are faring pretty well. So those lockdown worries were essentially, uh, on the one hand, there was COVID, another was a lockdown. That if we are not going to go to our shops, we are not going to go to our offices, then what will happen to the economy? Obviously, when the economy, the wheels are shut, obviously the results will be bad. Then the lockdown was extended several times. So what you thought begin with, it went on to a few months. So ultimately, the number of days which we were closed went on to as low as high as 60 days at a stretch. So this also created a sense of atmosphere which did not allow you to essentially buy in that kind of a market. Then we also had while the US had taken a lot of steps. In fact, if you look at the overall the economy of the G20, the G20 countries together had put in more than 10% of their economic size. That is the kind of stimulus which they had. While in India, we did have that stimulus, but the stimulus was back loaded, and it was not essentially totally in terms of cash dole out. It was essentially something when you start producing this, this thing will kick in, which is the right way for a country like us. We couldn't have afford that kind of a cash dole out. So this is now helping us in the form of the Atmanirbhar Bharat. Then we also had the dragon at the border. First, the things started coming up that we have China on our borders, and they have done this and they have done that, and then they were fight, and our 16 of our valiant soldiers, they lost their lives. It was only later that we developed the confidence that China we can handle both militarily as well as politically. So, but nevertheless, as far as the market is concerned, this was another worry. And obviously, you would know that GDP, because if the market is shut down, the GDP will contract. So these were essentially the things with the background on which we have moved to this in the current market, and these were the initial fears. Next slide, Sham. Now, the reason we've been saying is that 2020 is not 2008, and this thing we knew on the day when the market hit the lower circuit. I was on one of the channels, but on 25th of March, we had this confidence that this 751 will not be breached again. And there were many reasons for that. Because we had known that it was wrong on the part of television channels to compare 2008 with 2020, because you were essentially comparing chalk and cheese. In the year 2008, if to just to polish your memory once again, the US FDA, not the FDA, sorry, the US Federal Reserve came to the rescue of the US markets in the month of November, and the Lehman crisis had happened in the month of October. The market had crashed, and only after the Dow had made a low did the US Federal Reserve came to the rescue with a stretcher that what do you want? Okay, we want this, and therefore they wrote a check of $600 billion, something which was eclipsed in the first installment of 2020 what they wrote. So the US FDA did, US Federal Reserve wrote a check of $700 billion, and therefore they'll write more checks. And more importantly, they said that there are no limits as far as we could go to save the US economy. So you do not fight the Fed. This lesson we had learned in the year 2008, and we were very sure that when the Fed has said this, so obviously this is the bottom. So our markets will only move up, although slightly later, but that was the bottom. What about the FI selling? Well, the FI selling was happening at triple the pace. To give you another perspective, the FIIs in 2008 sold between 2008, the 12 months, and 3 months of 2009, 2008 and 9, they sold over a period of 15 months amount close to 58,000 crore of rupees. The FIIs in the month of Feb, March and April sold 67,000 crores worth of shares in a matter of 3 months, and this amount was 15% higher. So the speed of selling of FIIs were very, very high, but we had noticed, and therefore we were confident why the markets 7519 is the bottom, is the fact that the US, while the FIs were selling in 2008, at that point of time, our markets, our Indian markets, the Indian mutual fund industry was in its nascent stage. But by 2015, our markets had grown. And just to give you a realm of comparison, right from 2015, 16 and 17, the domestic institutions had pumped in more money than the FII. So we were net buyers, the domestic institutions, in these years. So therefore, when the FI sold this time, it was very well absorbed. Okay. So therefore, we were confident, and we were one of those saner, let's say, people in the market who were saying that this is the reason to buy. And also because of the fact that we covered, when we crossed, a new high was formed later, but when we crossed the level of, what was the level? Yes, 10,550. That was the level which would mean that the Nifty has now recovered from the level of low of 7511. The markets have retraced 61.8% of the fall. So whenever the markets recover this much, the bear market case is negated. So now the market could not be called a bear market, and we went on to make new highs, and we said so. I've said so many times on on other channels that we'll make a new high before Diwali, and ultimately the gods were kind enough, and we have a new high in the markets. Although we have a correction for the last 2 days, but essentially a new high has been made, and the point at which we close the high where we make and then we go for a correction, the tangent from the earlier high of 12,430 to this new high that we will make will decide the future course of the markets. So we'll come back to you in a 2-3 months time and tell you where we are exactly headed. Maybe that will be in the month of Jan or maybe Feb, when I'll come back to you and say where we are heading now. So that told about FIs, everything else. The central banks were working. Central banks across the world were taking care of the economies, and therefore the stimulus packages across the globe helped the people to recover. Preemptive action was taken by the US Fed, but overall in this market, gloom sells easily. You tell a negative story, there will be many believers. You tell a positive story, there are no takers. And those who are takers will bite, nibble a bit, and then they run away. Next slide, Shah. Now look at these institutional flows. This will tell you the whole story. The green is the FII investments, and the blue is the domestic. The below the line are the selling, and above the line is the buying. So it's very, very clear that right from the year 2015, the buying by the domestic institutions has been more than the FIIs for 3 long years, and whenever the FIIs sell, we can easily absorb. So that's how it is. We were not concerned about the FI selling because we know for sure that FIIs love growth, and whenever India will show growth, they'll come back. So can we go to the next slide, please? These are the broken the monthly breakups for you to look at the FI and DI. This for this calendar year. So in the month of March, February and March, the FIIs sold, and the domestic sold very high in March, and when the domestic institutions were net buyers. Next slide, please. Now you can see as the number of cases piled up, the Nifty went on going up. Normally people would think otherwise, but this is essentially because of the fact that markets tend to discount the future well in advance. So this is something which was not foreseen, people were not thinking, but eventually it happened. Next slide, beta. Now I've told you about the volatility. Now we have in this, we don't have on Bloomberg the level for the Nifty volatility before 2007, but I remember that the volatility in the year 92-93 was pretty high, and it was very high in 2003 as compared to the levels of what we saw in the year 2008. So the volatility has been falling, but for this year, so it isn't something great. Now, do you understand the implications that why is it falling? I mean, those figures are not there from 2003 onwards. So those figures were very high. Now the volatility has fallen primarily because of one thing, and that is the appearance on scene of the domestic investor. Now, because the domestic investor is there, the domestic institutions are there, so their selling will be absorbed, will be cushioned by the FIIs, and therefore India will have lesser volatility. And as the domestic institutions will only gain from here. To give you a perspective, we are just not more than 5% goes into equity, and the Reserve Bank of India has stopped publishing that figure but the last figure which they published in the year 2016 was their gross, whatever amount of financial savings were there, only 1.1% went to equity. Now equity has grown, but it is nowhere as compared to what you have in the erstwhile global markets. So this inflow into the domestic market will do well, will continue, and it will rise. Okay. Shyam, just please remind me to speak at the end why the mutual funds will do well. Okay. Please remember. Yeah. Next slide, bete. Before we talk about the green shoots, let me also talk about the altitude. I forgot to add this slide here. See, we had seen a level of 10,000 this year, 20, 10,000 we had seen in the year 19, 10,000 we had seen in the year 18, and 10,000 we had also seen in the year 2017. So we've been seeing the 10,000 level in the Nifty for the past 4 years. So there is nothing to acclimatize. We are already acclimatized. Okay. I believe that potential for India is tremendous going forward, primarily because of our demographics, which nobody can change. We are the youngest population in the world, working population in the world today. And this is something which nobody else can take away from us. And for the next 15, 20 years belong to India. And this is the time and very opportune time for you to start making the portfolios, because if you have a 10-year horizon, you couldn't have asked for a better time, because as demographics become better, the earning per capita income will rise. More importantly, the people who are dependent on the economy will reduce, and therefore the per capita income will rise at a much faster pace. And when the per capita income rises beyond $3,000 per person, I think the economy really takes off. So that was we talked about the volatility. We have also talked about the levels. Now we are looking at the green shoots. Manufacturing index for October came in at a 10-year high. Just speaking about a few. The GST collections. The GST collections were first time above 1 lakh crore after the month of February 2020. Now, please take note that this 1 lakh crore is when all sectors of the economy are not open. They were not open in October. It is that kind of a collection. So, and more importantly, we have seen the highest number of e-way bills being made. This means that the number of people under the tax net have never been so high. And because of the fact that now the population of GST players is increasing, as the economy picks up more, at least this portion of the issue is addressed. We have had a shortfall in our direct tax collections, but obviously so, because of the earnings were less, but this will be made up in more than one manner. Now, because of the fact that we had seen a 23% reduction in the last quarter in our economy, this next quarter also will probably reduce, but the second half, that means the December quarter and the March quarter, our economy will expand. And for next year, 21, 22, I mean, or if you take the calendar year 2021, Goldman Sachs believes that we could grow at a rate of 15%. But there is nothing to deny from the fact that next fiscal will grow in double digits. So this will obviously because of the fact that we have a lower base, but that doesn't take away from the fact that the economy has come back on track and in a sustainable manner. Take the Atmanirbhar thing. Okay, so our economy, I've already completed my half an hour. Okay, I'll chase another 5-7 minutes and then we'll leave you for questions. See, agri reforms is something which has never been attempted, or if attempted, the attempts were very feeble. Now people are essentially the states which are objecting to this are essentially for their own reasons. I mean, this is not a forum to talk about that, but the fact is, the single largest thing is that the economy of the farmers' income will only increase if the land is consolidated, and that will come only if I give my land to a joint venture or a cooperative, and therefore that all the modern amenities can be used. My farm can be cultivated, made in a manner in which it will become non-organic. It will become organic farming in 3 months, 3 years time. So all those things can happen, and the realizations can be very, very large. Apart from the fact, even if you were to go the inorganic way, that you continue to use the fertilizers and other things, then also the facilities of the modern agriculture can be used, and therefore the per capita, let's say, return to the farmer can be very high. It can be increased. Not to talk about the fact that if the land is used for orchards and other things, then the return are still very high. So these are things which will take place, but in a calibrated manner. Another reason why our markets will do well further is the fact that we have a higher allocation for it. In one of the popular MSCI index, for emerging markets, our weight is going up by 0.8% from 5.1 to 5.9, and this will mean that around 25,000 crores will further come in. This is just the beginning. We'll see as we grow, the amount of money that will come in will be very, very high. And right now the allocation is coming. The money is coming because of the allocation. The next increase in the India's weight will be on account of the fact that we'll be the largest and the fastest growing large economy. This is something that will happen in the future as well. So next slide, Shyam. Yes. So this is my last slide. We talk about, see, IT, pharma and chemicals were the early movers of this rally, and they should remain a part of your, not at that increased allocation. You may reduce your allocations. You decide for yourself what is good for you, but nevertheless, they have the capability to still deliver. Let me talk about IT. IT was a sector in which they had the capability, they showed the capability to use the disruptions in their by COVID to their advantage. They work from home, cut down their costs, cut travel expenses also, and increase their margins. Now this is something which will not happen incrementally quarter on quarter basis, but the fact is that YOY it will still happen, and at some point of time the travel will begin again. But having seen so much, it's very clear that not many people, when they think that this thing can be done, okay, so why need to travel? So these kind of things will ensure that the expenses will continue to be rationalized and the amount of human effort will be better for the company. If you so we in fact had at a time when COVID was running scatter, we had this thing that we had Infosys coming out and getting the confidence that they would be giving their guidance. Okay, and similarly, many companies were graded higher, like Wipro, for that matter, along with Infosys and HCL Tech. So we saw a lot of speed here in this sector, and because this is achievable in the next year also, they will continue. Chemicals and pharma. Let's take pharma first. Pharma industry is something like most of you may not know that pharma index made a last peak in the month of somewhere in May 2015. After that, in January, our in January of this year earlier, but the pharma index didn't. Pharma index made a new peak only in this post-COVID rally. So this is a new beginning for pharma. They have a longer room to go. And since many of the economy, many of the molecules are going off patent, they understand their business. And so the emerging markets will have a lot of elbow room to do their businesses in these patents that are going off patent in the next 5 years. Obviously, the gains will come to the emerging markets. But another feature that we need to understand is that the capex for the pharma industry has already been done, and now it's the time for them to recoup those gains. So you need to hold on to this sector. Chemicals, it's a new story altogether. We have now arrived as a second, let's say, distributor of a source of chemicals after China. And after China, what everybody has known is that you ought to have more than one supplier of your raw materials. So India has emerged as a credible supplier. Although we are not fully competent to compete with China, but nevertheless, business will increase here. New age businesses, the likes of Naukri and all, obviously need to be in your portfolio. Banks will continue to do along well with the economy. Cement is one which is doing well, and because of the fact that contractorship, or for that matter construction, this activity generates a lot of employment, so this sector will also do well. So you can continue to look at cement, and banks obviously will do. But another sector which will shine now is metals, and engineering is something which moves the last, and these have now started moving. Insurance and AMC were earlier two new businesses, services which were good. Insurance, life insurance has picked up. Asset management companies were not doing well. So you don't need to remind me now, Sham, because I now remember what I have to speak. That if you look at the last 2 years, the mutual funds have not been able to beat the benchmark. If you take the last quarter of June, only 2 of the 29 large cap mutual funds could beat the benchmark. And that only happened in 2 of those cases, and those 2 cases were not the larger ones. They were smaller ones, not because they had aggressively done that activity, but they happen to have higher amount of reliance, so therefore they did well. Now with Reliance getting 13 to 15% of the investor the Nifty allocation, and as allocation for other companies also rise, it will be a tad difficult for mutual funds to to really do better than those. In case those stocks in the Nifty, if they rise, then obviously the other mutual funds have had it. But by the fact that the now that the small caps have, there is a demand for them also, and because of the several changes that have happened in the by the SEBI, which for a change, those changes were not bad, and the SEBI has been, regulator has been listening patiently and has met all those conditions which they wanted. So I think both the regulator and the industry are on good relationship, and we believe that mutual fund industry can now do well because of the fact that they will be able to choose their stocks well, and they'll be able to beat the market. So when they're able to beat the market, they will have a larger inflow. Now, because the mutual funds were not able to beat the market, the AMCs had a tough time. So whether it's the listed entities, they didn't do well. But now I think they too have bottomed out. So as spoken, now I think we can have Sham. Can you open the session for 5 or 6 questions? Then we can close.
Dear participants,
Sham?
to ask any questions, please click on the question mark on your screen and type in your questions. I repeat, please click on the question mark on your screen and type in your questions. So we have a first question from Mr. Hemal Kamdar. He's asking which sectors should do well in the next 2-3 years.
Okay. So metals and banking and cement will do very well in the next 2-3 years. This is because as the economy is now opening up, the consumption will rise. So therefore, back to the old economy. So all these sectors are of the old economy. So these sectors, I believe, can grow faster than others.
The next question is from Mr. Dipankar Banerjee. He's asking, yes, sir, if economy grows in double digits, then what would be the repercussions in the stock markets?
Okay. See, we are going to see higher and higher PE ratios, and that means that currently, see, people could not buy because they knew that if the market is closed for January, for March and April, obviously we are closed fully for April and May, then what will happen? So this market knows and therefore discounted. So therefore, now when the earnings will rise, the markets will further rise because of the overall economy and the fact that interest rates are low. And I believe this period of low interest rates should continue for a while, at least a year more. So the interests are low, the PE can rise. So there are many cases in which there is no, let's say, people are not even looking at the PEs. You might say that this is a very dangerous environment, but considering the fact that we are the largest economy which is capable of growing at this rate, 15% or so, so therefore we will be in good, let's say, books, and we'll have a higher PE. Our penetration of equity is also very low. As mutual funds will start getting in more money will chase equity. So the PEs can still further rise, although they may fall in between, but they will continue to rise for the foreseeable, at least next 2-3 years.
So the next question is, what are the dangers for the economy and the stock market if there's a second corona wave in India?
See, the second corona wave, if it comes in India, I mean, it's not pakka that will come, but we cannot say for sure. Either we are not an expert to have an opinion on that. But if the second wave does come, okay, and we do not have a lockdown, very less negative impact. But if we have to go back to a lockdown, then we will be impacted, because then the currently the opening of the economy, which has been, let's say, discounted by the markets, will change, and therefore we could fall. So unless there is a lockdown, I don't think things will change, although the numbers are on the rise, but still those rising numbers are manageable, because we have fallen from the earlier levels. We have stopped falling further, and then we started increasing, but the increasing numbers are now stabilizing again. So let's hope, our fingers crossed, keep our fingers crossed. And the fact that the vaccine has been, I mean, it's not been announced as yet, but whenever the vaccine will come, they will come, and one vaccine will not be enough for the world. There'll be more vaccines needed. And but if you're talking about the risk is that there are many variants of this COVID. Whether one will work on this or another variant of that, not known. In Europe, maybe in Denmark, I think it is mutated into animals also, mink. So they are slaughtering minks to ensure that it doesn't spread further. So in case things like this go out of hand, then it could be impacted. But currently, I believe that unless India goes into a second lockdown, we could have a slight, let's say, resting of the markets for a while, but they may not fall as much.
We'll take a last question, sir. The last question is, currently all the PE ratios are gone very high. So, and generally it is said that don't buy in such a high PE ratio. Can you suggest on what we should do?
Okay, I would suggest that, see, just to give you the background, we were gung-ho and we are buying. We were told that this is the time to buy, and we still believe that this is the time to buy good stocks. The IT stocks, for instance, let's say, what's wrong with Infosys or an HCL Tech? Okay, you can still buy it. What do? Because you know that it has been run and it may not be the best of the growth sectors for the next 1 year or 2 years. What do? Okay, I will buy Infosys. I will buy Infosys only 1/3 right now. If it falls 5%, I'll buy another 1/3. Another 5%, I'll buy another, the balance 1/3. This is the way to get into good IT stocks, good pharma stocks. This is the way to go. If you believe, when you believe that the metals will do well, in metals you do not have to do such a thing. Maybe in metals you can buy 50% at one go, and the rest you can, should the market dip, you can add later. Similarly in cement, the mid caps, there are many ways to go. Hospitals, the other industries, I mean, right now, while the hospitals, the beds are full, but the elective operations are still not happening. They will happen only when the COVID subsides. That will be the best sector. Okay, Shyam.
Okay, sir. Thank you. I think we have come to our end of the session.
Thank you. Yeah, Shyam, I'll thank them. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for taking out your time. And I wish you all the best and wish you a very happy Diwali, a prosperous one. Keep good health. And tomorrow on Diwali day, it's not necessary that you buy. It's also good sometimes to sell something and take money home. Nothing wrong with that. You can come back later and buy, or you can sell one thing and buy another. Okay, but remember, you can deliver only those shares which you have, which are in your demat account, because if you sell shares which you bought today, it will not be possible for you, because the two will be two different settlements and they'll not be adjusted. However, positions in the futures can continue to be what you bought today, you can sell tomorrow. But equity wise, unless you have something already there in the demat, something you buy today and you already have something in the demat account that you can sell tomorrow, otherwise not. All the best and have a great year ahead. Thank you.